Let's sit down and reason together, shall we? At what point do we stop asking the white man and say, you know what, bruh, thanks anyway, but I got this? At what point do we do that? At what point do we stand up and say, you know what? I don't require assistance to understand and to know what my freedoms are. Like, my state of mind allows me to do that on its own. I don't need you to define that for me. I don't need you to make sense of it for me. I don't need you to give me a definition of what my freedom and equality is. Think about it. Okay. So, say for instance, the white man sets aside trillions of dollars for reparations, right? And each family, each black family gets $1 million, $500,000. If you can go back, if you can go back and show that your people were slaves or whatever in this country, which most of us are, and you go back and they give you $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. Okay? What you gonna do with it? I tell you right now, more than 2/3 of you, in my statistical analysis, more than 2/3 of you be broken up within the first 2 years. The rest of you be broken in the next 5 years. See what I'm saying? So it'd be easier, right, to sit there and continue to complain and make peanuts. You know what I mean? At least you're working. At least you're doing, you see what I'm saying? At least you're doing something. Because in 5 years, you'll be back at the same spot you were before you had the $5 million. Right? Why you, huh? What'd you say? You say, voice in the wilderness, you don't know what you're talking about? Oh, yes, I do know what I'm talking about. You'll all be broke in 5 years. I used to watch a program called Band of Brothers. And in one of the episodes, it showed Allied troops going into Auschwitz, or one of the concentration camps. And what happened is that the soldiers who didn't know no better, right, saw all these, walking dead human beings, skeletons for the most part, coming up to them, and their hearts went out to them, okay? But they started trying to give them food. Now, you know what I mean? I'm talking about, like, solid foods, like the stuff they carry in their K rations. And, they start, they're hungry. These living, walking, dead bodies started eating this food, right? Next thing you know, a medic comes up and he starts taking the food away. And, you look and you're like, what the? Well, I've been in the medical field, so if anybody knows, you can't give a starving body solid foods. You have to gradually wean them on food because the body, but the body can't take the shock, end up killing them. And see, that's what will happen to any black folks that haven't learned how to reason and think for themselves. As long as I can go on a program like a high school program I was watching the other day on CBS about, and it's out here in Western Pennsylvania, these high schoolers, and they ask them all these questions and stuff like that. And the kids are really, really bright. A lot of the questions I didn't even know. But they're really bright. Mathematics, social studies, you name it, they cross the subject matter. If you look on those panels, and they were, three kids to a team. Most of them kids was white. One of the schools had, a black sister, but I didn't see any brothers at all. You see what I'm saying? As long as Barnes and Noble, as long as I go in Barnes and Noble and there's mostly white people in there, every time I go in Barnes and Noble, I don't never see any black people in there. I stand corrected. The one black person I did see in there worked there. Those places should be, and white folks take their kids in them places all the time. I take my sons to Barnes and Noble, and I'm talking about any bookstore, most bookstores. Why is that? Like we're starving out here. We're starving for reason. We're starving for knowledge. Why are we spending money to go to a Beyonce concert, screaming and hollering over Jay-Z and these mugs? For what? How is that going to help us? You know what I mean? We're not anywhere sitting down studying our history. Look, let me pull your coat to something. A lot of these analysts, well, first let's talk about the activists. Okay, they're telling you that a lot of the black folks that came over across the ocean on those slave ships was kings and queens. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's bullshit. The South was made up of 7 million slaves. 7 million slaves, 6 million slaves, somewhere in that number. Okay, you trying to tell me all of them was kings and queens? No, they weren't. The numbers defy it. Okay, a lot of them were sold into slavery, as I said in my earlier videos, by other black folks, by the kings and queens. You might get a sprinkle of a king and a queen that got sold into slavery because their tribe was beaten back. You know what I'm saying? But most of them was slaves already. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at the numbers for what they are, not for what you're trying to make them to be. The truth. You know what I'm saying? The analysts on TV, the white man need to, and they cross their legs and and this is why our society is the way it. You know what? They vultures feeding on the flesh of their own people. So what is their solution to the problem? I don't never hear any one of those analysts say to you, after they've talked about the white man, and he's done a lot of grimy stuff, but I've never heard one of them say, but I don't see enough black people in libraries. I don't see enough black people on you know what I mean, on TikTok talking about something that's important to the mind. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. Most of our motivations are what? This, a pair of sneakers, you know what I'm saying? Looking good. Why? Because our women are motivated by that? I don't care. No, I'm not. If I put this on right here, I'm putting it on for me. I ain't putting it on for you, because guess what? Once you start talking to me, you ain't going to want to talk to me anymore anyway. Because my first thing is going to be all knowledge. It's going to be all about our mindset. What can we do to help one another make life sweeter? You know what I mean? Make life more meaningful. Make life more intellectual. Can we sit down and talk about the deeper things of the universe? Can we sit down and talk about religion on another level? Not on Christ. You know what Christ's biggest mistake was? Telling people he was the Son of God. You know why? Because what happened is now they could say, man, get out of here. You ain't the Son of God. Instead of listening to his message. Or, God, yeah, he the Son of God. So he rose in 3 days. So now all I have to do is pray and let things happen and I'll go to heaven. Come on, man. I know he's like, man, why did I say that? Because it would have been better if he had just said, love, and just kept it at love thy neighbor as thy love thyself. Do unto others, you have them do unto you. Ye shall reap what you sow. Those are the kind of things that would have stuck. Instead, the superficial stuck. What good is it going to do us here and now if we think that we're going to be okay in the hereafter? Come on, man. Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? In finality, if I can't think for myself, if I tell you to watch my program and not think for, I say watch my program, but don't think for yourself, I'll be doing you a disfavor. Right? I say don't follow me. I want you to go out and tell people what I said. Right? Have them come watch what I say. And then go out and do something. Don't come stay here sitting in front of here, waiting on me hand and foot about what the next message is. Come by at your leisure and look and see what I have to say about thinking on your own. The continuing quest to find self-evidence, being self-identified.